just so bored.
Me too. Do you want to watch like some TV or something?
You as well.
Wait, go back. That was She's the Man. I love that movie.
No way! Did you know She's the Man's based off Shakespeare's play The Twelfth Night?
What? No way. Tell me more about it.
Well, there's a Shakespeare documentary on History Channel. You just want to watch that?
Sure.
I'm sure it'll tell us more about the play.
Yeah.
William Shakespeare was born in Stratford-upon-Avon around April 23, 1564. The exact date is unknown, but church records show that he was baptized on April 26. Shakespeare was the third of 8 children. His father, John Shakespeare, was a glover and leather merchant in town. Even though they were middle class, they were politically connected as a bailiff. His mother, Mary Arden, was the daughter of a wealthy man. John was probably illiterate, so Mary taught William how to read. At the age of 6 or 7, William attended Stratford Grammar School. He would have studied Latin and read classical literature at school. He left school because his family was in financial and legal trouble.
When Shakespeare was 18, he married the beautiful 26-year-old woman named Anne Hathaway, who happened to be pregnant. Susanna was born 6 months later in 1582. In 1585, Anne gave birth to twins, Hamnet and Judith. Shakespeare's only son, Hamnet, died at the age of 11.
For the next 7 years, there was no record of William's life. This period is called the Lost Years. There are many suggestions that Shakespeare worked as a schoolmaster or lawyer, but there is no proof. In 1594, William became a famous poet and wrote at least 154 sonnets. Shakespeare became an actor and later managed the Lord Chamberlain's Men. The company changed its name to King's Men when King James I was crowned. They soon built and operated the Globe Theatre, which became the most famous theater of its time. Shakespeare wrote more than 37 plays and a countless number of poems.
Twelfth Night, also known as What You Will, is a 5-act play Shakespeare wrote around 1601. William Shakespeare's Twelfth Night is a romantic comedy. The play was printed in the first folio in 1623. It is one of Shakespeare's finest comedies and was written before the great tragedies. The title comes from the night of Epiphany on January 6th. This holiday signaled the end of Christmas, and Shakespeare wrote the play to celebrate these occasions. There was also an Italian play written in the 1530s which triggered Shakespeare's ideas for Twelfth Night. Twelfth Night was first performed on February 2nd, 1602 in the Middle Temple. The Middle Temple was one of the 4 Inns of Court School of Law. Twelfth Night was one of many of Shakespeare's works that was acted at the start of the Restoration. It may have been performed earlier on the 12th night at Whitehall Palace in 1601, but there is no way to confirm it. The men took on all the female roles in the play. So, there was a guy dressing like a girl dressing like a guy. This play has inspired many present-day films, including Just One of the Guys, Motocrossed, and She's the Man. She's the Man includes many of the same character names and places. It even contains quotes from the 12th night.
We will be performing Act 1, Scene 2.
In the scene, Viola comes to Illyria and asks the captain to help carry out her devious plan.
Viola is the protagonist of the play Twelfth Night. She is a young woman who thinks she has lost her brother, Sebastian, at sea. Viola decides to make her own way in the world by disguising herself as a man. After the storm that Viola thinks killed her brother, the captain rescues her and brings her to the land of Illyria. The captain helps Viola become a page to Duke Orsino and keeps her identity a secret.
The play starts off at the Illyrian court, where Duke Orsino is dreaming about Countess Olivia. One of his messengers reports that one of Olivia's brothers recently died, so she plans on grieving and mourning his loss for the next 7 years. Duke Orsino is determined to court Countess Olivia as soon as possible. Viola and the sea captain arrive in Illyria.
What country, friends, is this?
This is Illyria, lady.
What should I do in Illyria? My brother, he is in Elysium. Perchance he drowned. What think of this, sailors?
It is perchance that you yourself were saved.
Oh, my poor brother, and perchance may he be.
True, madam, and to comfort you with chance, assure yourself after our ship did split, when you and those poor numbers saved, hung on our driving boat, I saw your brother, most provident in peril, find himself, courage and hope both teaching him the practice, to strong masts that lived upon the sea, were like Aaron on the dolphin's back, I saw him hold acquaintance to the waves, so long as I could see.
For saying so, there's gold. Mine's own escape unfoldeth to thy hope, whereto thy speech serves as authority, the like of him. Knowst thou this country?
Ay, madam, I was not bred and born, but 3 hours' travel from this very place.
Who governs here?
A noble duke, in nature as in name.
What is his name?
Orsino.
Orsino? I have heard my father name him. He was a bachelor then.
And so is now, or was so very late. For but a month ago I went from hence, and then 'twas fresh in murmur, as you know. What great ones do, the less will prattle of, that he did seek the love of fair Olivia.
What's she?
A virtuous maid, the daughter of a count, that died some 12 months since, then leaving her, with the protection of his son, her brother, who shortly also died, for whose dear love, they say, she hath abjured the company and sight of men.
Oh, that I served that lady, and might not be delivered to the world, till I make my own occasion mellow. What my estate is.
That were hard to compass, because she will admit no kind of suit, no, not the duke's.
There is a fair behavior in thee, captain, and though the nature, with the beauteous wall, doth off close in pollution, yet of thee I will believe thou hast a mind that suits. With this thy fair and outward character, I prithee, and I'll pay thee bounteously. Conceal me, what I am, and be my aid, for such disguise as haply shall become the form of my intent. I'll serve this duke. Thou shalt present me as a eunuch to him. It may be worth thy pains, for I can sing and speak to him in many sorts of music. That will allow me very worth his service. What else, mayhap to time, I will commit. Only shape thou silence to my wit.
Be you his eunuch, and your mute I'll be. When mine tongue blabs, let mine eyes not see.
Thank thee, lead me on.
Meanwhile, at Duke Orsino's house, Viola has disguised herself as Cesario. Orsino is soon impressed with Cesario and asks her to go to Olivia and make Orsino look good. He wants Cesario to do whatever he can to get Olivia, even if it creates a big scene, because Orsino will not take no for an answer. Orsino is convinced that Cesario is the answer to Olivia falling in love with him. This is very hard for Viola to accomplish because she is falling in love with the Duke herself.
Back at Olivia's place, Maria is goofing around with Fest, the fool. When Olivia enters and orders her servants to take the fool away, the fool makes a joke and Olivia becomes amused. Fest will have to prove to Olivia that he can stay. Malvolio does not think that Fest is hilarious, but Olivia thinks that Malvolio is just a jerk. When Maria tells Olivia that someone has come to visit, she tells her to tell them to go away. They wonder who the young man could possibly be. Olivia decides to let the man in, but covers her face with a black veil.
When Cesario tries to convince Olivia to love Duke Orsino, she does not fall for it. She claims to be too busy mourning the loss of her brother. As Cesario continues to talk with Olivia, Olivia falls deeply in love with Cesario, who is still Viola in disguise. Olivia lies to Malvolio and tells him that Cesario left a ring, so he should return it and invite the wonderful Cesario back to Olivia's.
In Illyria, Viola starts to feel really bad because Malvolio makes her realize that Olivia is in love with Cesario. She knows that her wicked disguise is going to end up harming others.
At Olivia's, Malvolio is known as the party pooper, who never likes to drink, sing, or have any sort of fun. Malvolio is compared to an Elizabethan Puritan. Some of the characters are fed up with him, so they construct an evil plan to forge a love letter from Olivia to Malvolio. All Malvolio cares about is achieving a higher social status, so he falls for the trick. He dresses up in yellow tights is rude to her family and servants, and confidently walks around with a weird grin on his face. Olivia has no recollection of this evil plan, so she thinks Malvolio has gone mad and locks him up.
When Cesario returns to Olivia's to deliver a gift, Olivia confesses her love for Cesario. Cesario tells her she's not interested. Sir Andrew becomes very upset because he is in love with Olivia. So he plans to fight Cesario to prove that Olivia loves him. So Sir Andrew writes a letter challenging Cesario to a duel. Neither Cesario nor Sir Andrew actually want to fight.
Off the coast of Illyria, Viola's twin brother Sebastian is trying to escape from the sea captain who saved him because the captain is starting to fall in love with Sebastian. Sebastian is extremely upset because he thinks his sister Viola died at sea. His plan is to go to Illyria and find Duke Orsino. When he arrives in Illyria, the sea captain decides to hide because he stole from Duke Orsino. The captain gives Sebastian some money and they went their separate ways.
At Olivia's, the sea captain arrives and mistakes Cesario for Sebastian. The cops show up and arrest him for being a pirate. The sea captain asks Cesario to return the money, but Cesario doesn't know what he's talking about.
Now that Sebastian is in Illyria, people constantly confuse him for Cesario. Sir Andrew slaps Sebastian, thinking it was Cesario, and it turns into a huge fight. Olivia comes and breaks up the fight, and now she has become even more in love with Cesario, who is actually Sebastian. Olivia proposes to Sebastian, and he says yes, because he loves the attention he's getting from her.
Later, when Duke Orsino and Cesario are together, Olivia shows up. She scolds him for being a bad husband and neglecting her. Then Sir Andrew accuses Cesario of beating him. Everyone becomes super angry until Sebastian enters. Everyone finally realizes that it was actually Sebastian who married Olivia, not Cesario. Viola then admits that she is not Cesario and unveils her disguise.
Malvolio then yells at Olivia for writing the letter, which she denies. Malvolio says he will get revenge, then leaves. Duke Orsino tells Viola that he will marry her once she changes out of her Cesario disguise. This scene is very important to the play The Twelfth Night. Act 1, Scene 2 is the scene where Viola decides to portray herself as a man. She thinks that her brother was lost at sea, so she no longer has anybody to rely on, so she has to find her own way in the world, and it creates her a new identity as Cesario. This new identity affects the lives of every character throughout the play.
There are many themes throughout Twelfth Night. One of those is love is a cause of suffering. Many of the characters throughout the play view love as a curse. For example, Orsino views the love that he has for Olivia as an appetite that he cannot fulfill. And Olivia views her love for Viola, who she thinks is Cesario, as a plague that she suffers from greatly. Most of the characters throughout the play achieve their romantic happiness, but some of them don't. Malvolio is one of the characters that does not. He suffers a great deal of embarrassment because of the trick the other characters played on him. Throughout the play, it is evident that love does not overcome every single obstacle throughout life. Those who don't achieve their happiness continue to seek it, but its absence causes a great deal of suffering and pain. The play also describes a relationship between love and self. When the characters fall in love, they lose themselves in their actions. During the play, Olivia fears her consequences for loving Viola, but she is willing to risk it because love allows herself to give it up for fate.
Gender is another significant theme throughout the play. Because of Viola's decision to portray herself as a man, it leads to a lot of a state of confusion for the rest of the characters. Shakespeare hints at the true feelings each character feels towards the end of the play, but it's still unclear. Another important component of the Twelfth Night is deception. The use of disguises and forgery blurs the lines between appearance and reality. The disguise gives an overall presence but does not reveal one's internal nature. The dishonesty of the disguises led some characters to be misconceived, but it affected some more than others. Harold Bloom believes The Twelfth Night is by far the best of Shakespeare's pure comedies. Most of Shakespeare's earlier comedies are present in The Twelfth Night because it's a defense against the darkness and bitterness within Troilus and Cressida, All's Well That Ends Well, and Measure for Measure, which are the dark comedies. He also believes that every character within the play is mad without even knowing it.
Although Harold Bloom really enjoyed reading the play, he didn't enjoy watching it. He thought it was very slow-paced and wasn't entertaining at all.
I think the play The Twelfth Night was overall a good play, but I prefer some of Shakespeare's other works over The Twelfth Night because some of the events within the play were didn't really make sense, and they didn't really give anything to the overall plot. And it was also not very action filled compared to some of his other plays, such as Romeo and Juliet and Macbeth. And I just preferred more action instead of it seemed like it was going back and forth between Olivia's house and Orsino's house a lot.
I agree that it didn't have as much action as Macbeth and stuff like that, but I really enjoyed this style more. I think that it was very fast-paced and entertaining. There were some irrelevant scenes involving really minor characters, and it did get a little confusing when Sebastian was present because there was a lot of different mix-ups and you were kind of confused what they were saying. But I really liked how She's the Man is based off of this because it made the play more interesting because you would try and find the similarities between the movie and the play.